Hi, everyone. Welcome to True Disabled Story. My name is Nico, and I use he, him pronouns. I'm a white man with parted blonde hair, large blue and brown glasses, and a white designs of birds and red and blue flowers on them. I'm seated in front of a bookcase and a purple wall. This is actually my office, my home office. Like roughly 25% of Americans and a full 17% of Philadelphians, I'm disabled. Whether we look locally, nationally, or even globally, disabled communities are full of dynamic, diverse, and frankly delightful people with their own stories to tell. All we have to do is listen. As many of you know, I was born disabled. I've never known differently, and I probably will always be disabled. So when I meet other disabled people, I'm naturally curious about their experiences, their perspectives, and what stories they have to tell. Today, I'm honored to be joined by my new friend Kayla, and I can't wait to hear what Kayla has to say and hear about her journey. Hi, Kayla. Thank you for joining me. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing good.
Fantastic. Kayla, what was your path to diagnosis like? Was this a total surprise or mostly a surprise? Or was it maybe something you were actively pursuing? Tell us that story.
Okay, so I was born a micro preemie at 25 weeks gestation, 3 months premature. I was 1 pound, 15 ounces. So all of my challenges came from being a preemie.
All right, valid. What kinds of challenges were you facing? What did it take a long time to come home from the hospital? Did doctors have to intervene somehow? I'm just wondering.
Yeah, so like I was in the hospital, I think, for 4 months, and they did have to intervene with eye surgery and ventriculoperitoneal shunts. And there was a lot of intervention because I was so small.
Sure. I also had eye surgery very early in life. My left eye is significantly weaker than my right. So, Kayla, you've given us some idea of what life was like for you right off the bat, right? As a micro preemie, you had a lot of health issues. You stayed in hospital for 4 months. Doctors ultimately intervened and did eye surgery, gave you shunts in your heart. What impact have your diagnosis had on your life now that you're um, an adult? Obviously, no longer a baby in the hospital. And you could consider this like what impact has your diagnosis had academically, personally, or however you want to answer. Just want to give you kind of a wider picture to paint.
Okay, so yeah, it has made it challenging. Like I've used accommodations all throughout school and college, and now that I'm about to start the job search, I'm hoping that employers won't discriminate when they see World Services for the Blind on my resume.
Fantastic, thank you. I really value your perspective because you are entering the workforce, and that can be sometimes a very difficult transition for disabled people to go from college, high school, or grad school where they might have certain supports into the workforce or the work world where those supports might not be in place. So I really want to validate your experience right now that you're kind of making that transition. How is that going for you, by the way? It like where are you in the search? What challenges are you coming up with?
Okay, so like where I'm at in the job search is I graduate my vocational program on Friday, which I'm super excited about. And then next week, I will meet with my vocational rehab counselor in St. Louis, and we're going to come up with a plan to start the job search.
All right, fantastic. I'm so glad that you have somebody helping you come up with a concrete step-by-step plan to get employed. Kayla, you've mentioned being a micro premature child and having difficulties right away at birth. And you've mentioned being a vocational rehab student and facing some uncertainty as you enter the professional world, I guess we'll say. Looking back, what advice would you give people with your diagnosis? Or even if you could give advice to like your younger self, right? If there was time travel available to us, what advice would you give?
That's a good question, but I would say like definitely be determined, be persistent, like don't give up, try to achieve the goals that you have.
All right, yeah. I see that lesson in my own life as well. And in fact, disabled people like you and me have to be even more persistent, right? Or even more dedicated because doors that might open more quickly for able-bodied people don't always open as quickly for disabled people like you and me. I guess both literally and figuratively. Thank you so much, Kayla. As we close our time together, I want to give you a chance that you and I, as disabled people, rarely get, and that is a chance to brag, promote yourself. Where can people find you online? If you're celebrating any other recent win, you can mention that. But this is your chance to really brag about, promote yourself. Uh, let's hear it. Be your own cheerleader.
Okay, so yeah, I am about to enter the workforce. I'm looking for any administrative assistant type of positions. And at my previous employer, I was working on a spreadsheet that had 875 permit entries that was taking me weeks to do, but I was working on it week after week and it was progressing well and people have noticed I'm detail oriented.
That's important. Thank you so much, Kayla. I really appreciate that. I'm also someone who occasionally works with very long worksheets, so Excel fatigue is real, is it not?
Hmm. Yeah.
Kayla, I've really enjoyed our time together. Thank you so much. Wherever you go, whatever you do, I'm rooting for you. And if I find any remote like admin assistant opportunities, I'll pass them your way.
Oh, awesome.
All right. Thank you so much for your help.
Okay. Have a good day.
And you as well.